I don't get to make videos like this nearly enough, where I can relax, put the anger away for a little while, and just geek out about the awesome movie or show I just watched. And make no mistake about it, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is fan-freaking-tastic. Tom Cruise did it again! Best movie of the summer, best action movie period since Top Gun Maverick, excluding John Wick 4, which I haven't seen, and frankly, one of the best films of the year. And I don't think I'm overhyping that at all. Sure, I may have gone in really rooting for this thing because of what I had to review a few weeks earlier, but that had nothing to do with it, because start to finish, this movie just kicks ass. This tag team of Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie, I get why they like working together so much. I see why McQuarrie is Cruise's go-to guy, because these two together have just perfected the formula of the summer blockbuster. They've got it down to a science. Literally, you could almost tell while watching this movie that they were working some kind of crazy fifth-dimensional equation that would craft the best film possible. Like, okay, there needs to be an action scene here, a quiet scene here, a big fight sequence on top of a moving train there, a joke in this scene, some sexual tension over here. In this scene, Tom needs to run for 45 seconds from this location to that location to get ahead of a big explosion. Now just solve for X and boom! Perfect summer blockbuster. And I'm not even really joking, because on a scientific level, I'm not sure how they could have made this movie better. It has everything you could want in a film like this, crafted with downright mathematical precision. Thrilling action set pieces, amazing practical stunt work, breakneck pacing, white-knuckle tension, life and death stakes, character drama, intelligent writing, loads of twists and turns. All the jokes land great, probably the last true bona fide movie star at the height of his powers, and best of all, say it with me, no politics. There was no political agenda to speak of. The only agenda they had was to make a great movie. And goddammit, that's how it's supposed to be. And you could tell leading up to the premiere that they had their heads screwed on straight, because they made sure to let everyone know with articles like this one. What's Tom Cruise talking about here? Character, storytelling, acting performance, wanting to make the best movie possible? What's he not talking about? Politics, feminism, redefining gender roles, or destroying cis, heteronormative, whatever the You know why? Because he understands that that stuff is box office poison. And when people hear that stuff, a big chunk of them decide right then and there to not see the movie. And the filmmakers too. Look at all the featurettes. What are they talking about? How exciting the movie is. How amazing the stunts are. How they're doing action on a level that's never been done before. These guys understand that when most people go to the movies, they don't want to be lectured or educated or preached to. They just want to be entertained by a fun movie with a good story and good characters. And in the event that they actually might want all that other stuff, they damn sure don't want it in a movie like Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise doesn't want to alienate the audience, he wants to entertain them. So crazy it just might work, right? And that's why Tom Cruise gets to keep making movies like this. That's why Tom Cruise continues to succeed. Well, that, and because the dude is freaking superhuman with some of the stuff he does in this thing. And I mean that. As impressive as the action is in this movie, it's even more impressive when you watch the behind-the-scenes stuff to see all the prep work they did. For one stunt, just one stunt, Tom Cruise trained for 6 months so he could perform it himself. So in the movie, when you see Tom Cruise driving a motorbike off a cliff, that's not CG. There's no stunt double. That's really Tom Cruise driving a motorbike off a real f***ing cliff. And it looks great! Then there's another stunt, the speed flying sequence, where he's parachuting down a cliffside, going like 80 miles an hour, 5 feet off the ground. Incredibly dangerous stuff for maybe 45 seconds of film. Tom Cruise trained for years, so he could perform that stunt himself.
We've been training for a few years now.
And when you see him fighting on top of a moving train, that's really him. They actually built a whole f***ing train just so Tom Cruise could do a fight scene on top of it and then destroy the damn thing. Unbelievable.
We had to build the train if we wanted to destroy it.
The dude is 61 years old, and he's redefining what it is to be an action star. Him and Keanu Reeves, who isn't that much younger, I think. Like a fine wine, they just get better with age. You wouldn't think Tom would still be able to do this type of stuff, but somehow he just keeps getting crazier, and he keeps pulling it off. So, needless to say, the action in this movie, f***ing phenomenal. But that doesn't mean much if they don't have a good story to back it up. And guess what? They do. If I have one criticism criticism, it's that there isn't much of an overarching story across all the Mission Impossible movies. There are characters who return here and there, but the stories are pretty self-contained, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm always looking for that Avengers Endgame style payoff, and not many movie series or shows get there, unfortunately, or even have the opportunity to do so. But hey, if self-contained stories work for them, that's cool, especially when you do it this well. That's another thing the movie has going for it. The script is really smart, and it does something that I wasn't sure Hollywood writers still knew how to do, which is be topical without injecting anything stupid into it. I don't want to reveal too much, but part of the story involves the looming threat of AI and how dangerous that technology can be if it grows beyond our control. That's a big topic of discussion right now, so it feels very tangible. And they're able to explore it in a pretty dynamic way. It never gets cartoony or stupid. They knew just how far they could take it without jumping the shark. Everything that happens here, it's not that much of a stretch to imagine it happening in real life. That's the crazy thing. And somehow, I don't think they intended to do this, but it kind of felt like they pulled off what every Terminator movie since T2 has been trying and failing to do. Make an AI scary again. And that's just on a macro level. Even down to individual scenes, this thing is expertly crafted. There are so many twists and swerves. Every time you think you know where a scene is going, they pull the rug out and surprise you with something else, constantly keeping you guessing. I thought I knew where they were going any number of times, and they just kept on surprising me, which contributes so much to the impeccable pacing of this film. The movie flies by. It's close to 3 hours, and it feels like 90 minutes. You don't feel the length at all.
That's what she said.
But by far, more than anything else, the thing that makes this movie so goddamn delicious is that it gets right what a lot of other big summer blockbusters this year have been getting wrong. For starters, it's part one of a two-parter, but it's not one ungodly long, never-ending movie that was cut in half right before the third act started. It's a full, complete film on its own with a beginning, middle, and end. That's another thing that helps with the pacing. So even though Dead Reckoning Part 1 is about 23 minutes longer than Across the Spider-Verse, it actually feels like it's a lot shorter, whereas Across the Spider-Verse felt like it was never gonna fucking end sometimes. Don't at me. But it also avoids the mistakes of Indiana Jones and the dial of a desiccated corpse of a once great movie franchise. And there were a lot of those, so let's just cover the major ones. First, it does representation the right way, i.e. organically. There are no awkward, pointless characters who are in there just to tick a box or lecture a Nazi. Every character who's in this movie belongs there. Everybody has a purpose, everybody fills an important role, so not only does the film have diversity and representation, but it has these things in the form of some really cool, badass, fun characters that you want to see more of, and take note, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, are never fucking annoying. Vanessa Kirby is a really crafty, powerful villain, but also finds herself backed into a corner. Pom Klementieff is a kick-ass antagonist, but who may have thrown her lot in with the wrong people. Rebecca Ferguson, she's cool as always. All three, not great female characters, but great characters who happen to be female. The only one I was kind of worried about was Haley Atwell, because she has some stigma attached to her due to all the Captain Carter bullshit. Don't get me started on that crap again. But she was great too. She's basically the female lead, because Tom Cruise can't hold his attention on any one female lead co-star for too long, I guess. And not only does she hold her own with Tom, but she was like a textbook example of how to take the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character from Dial of a Destroyed Film Studio and make it work. Because on paper, the two characters are very similar, playing off the male lead, kind of an antagonistic relationship. They start off working against each other, but they're forced together because of reasons. It's the same basic idea, except every step of the way, Haley Atwell zigs where Phoebe Waller-Bridge zagged. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but there's a thing that Ethan Hunt and Atwell's character are both after, and a big chunk of the movie is about them trying to get it. Sometimes working separately, sometimes working together, not necessarily by choice, and they each have different methods of acquiring this thing. So Atwell is very good at what she does, she has her own skill set, and she does get the better of Ethan at times, but then around every corner, there's Ethan getting the better of her right back. So it's this constant game of cat and mouse where they keep trying to one-up each other, but only one of them has main character shields. So Atwell comes off like a strong character, but Ethan Hunt is still Ethan motherfucking Hunt. And guess what? He's not getting cucked, he's not getting undermined or overshadowed or disrespected. Atwell looks cool and resourceful, but there's never any question about whose movie this is. And if there is, he'll remind you. And one of the reasons why that works so well is because they never play the ideologue card with Hayley Atwell, or any of the female characters. They can be strong and badass, but they're also flawed and complicated and are allowed to make mistakes. For instance, one important sequence involves a car chase where Atwell's character needs to be in the driver's seat. Problem is, apparently she's not a very good driver, so that creates problems. There are other scenes where she's in deep trouble, really gets in over her head, and you can see how scared she is because she doesn't really know how to handle this stuff like the IMF team does, and she needs Ethan's help, so he has to save her. And she doesn't lose anything by that, she gains something. It makes her an actual character. It makes her look human and sympathetic, and oh yes, likable. And Hayley Atwell isn't afraid to play that up. So the end result is that she comes off like a great new addition to the franchise I'm looking forward to seeing more of, as opposed to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was just some insufferable, snarky, condescending asshole. Hot damn, Hollywood! This is female representation done right. See? It's really not that hard. Write more roles for women like this, and you'll be getting a lot fewer complaints from people like me, and Doomcock, and Heel vs. Babyface, and, you know, everybody on Twitter. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 knocked it out of the friggin' park. Fantastic action, expertly paced, a smart story, great characters, a hero who's still at the top of his game after 7 movies and showing no signs of slowing down, an excellent cliffhanger to lead us into Part 2, no annoying political garbage, just entertainment. That's how it's fucking done, you guys! Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie just know how to do this stuff the right way. If certain other film studios were taking more cues from them, maybe those studios wouldn't be looking at embarrassing flop after embarrassing flop lately. And I don't know how many failures like that it's gonna take to smarten those jackasses up, but whatever that number is, we haven't reached it yet. So until then, I guess it's gonna be up to Tom Cruise to keep saving the film industry every couple of years, and at this point, if he can't do it, nobody can. He loves to entertain, he bends over backwards to make the best movies possible and then thanks the audience for watching them. The only agenda he has is to make great films, and as long as there are people like that, there's still hope for the entertainment business. Go see Dead Reckoning Part 1. Don't wait for it to drop on streaming. See it in a theater on the biggest screen you can find. Support films like this one so we can get more of them and less of, well, all the other ones. Thanks so much for watching, and while you're here, do all the other YouTube things. Ding that bell icon and follow my social media by clicking the links down there so you can always be notified when I upload new stuff. And most importantly, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed, because what really deserves to be terrorized by an AI program more creepily intuitive than anything the last 4 Terminator movies could think of is the YouTube algorithm. Seriously, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subs by the end of the year, and I'm closing in on that. I just need to get over a couple more hurdles. So help me out, click subscribe, take care, I'll be back with more videos real soon. See you later.